Tadej Pogačar was yesterday overtaken by his 2.5 minute man Remco Evenepoel in the World Championships time trial race. And not only that, he also missed out on the podium, with some people calling the result a disaster and worrying about Tadej's defence of his rainbow bands in the road race next Sunday. But there is no need to fear, because this was all part of Tadej's master plan to win the road race title for a second consecutive year. And that's even confirmed by the man himself. So we're going to take a closer look at this one and see why it was a calculated, considered and cold-blooded decision from Tadej that gives him the best chance of winning next week. But first, a quick recap for those of you that didn't catch the race yesterday. Despite starting as pre-race favourite for the win, Tadej was outclassed by now three-time reigning defending TT champion Remco Evenepoel. And it was clear from the first intermediate time split that Remco was a cut above not just Tadej but everybody else as well. And that culminated with Remco catching and overtaking Tadej on the road, a sight that some of us thought we might never see. But not just that, Tadej missed the podium itself as well, losing out to UAE teammate Jayvine for silver and Remco's Belgium teammate Ilan van Wilder for third, with Tadej just 1 second away from that bronze spot on the podium. And this has understandably led some people to call out that Tadej might not be in top form and they are worried for his performance next Sunday in the road race. But I'm not worried, and I don't think you need to be either. So let's jump into this one. We're going to have a look and break down Tadej's words themselves so you can see why this was all part of his plan.
Of course, I'm disappointed. Remco called me, but yeah, well, he's so fast. It's incredible how good he is in this discipline. Yeah, chapeau, really, what a ride by him. But I saw that I'm 1 second off podium, which is really bittersweet. Because maybe if I knew that I'm 1 second in the last kilometer, I would maybe I would have a bit of extra motivation, but I didn't know. And yeah.
So firstly, as always, Tadej is a great loser as well as being a great winner, and he gives Remco his kudos and says Remco's just on another level. Fair play to him. But interestingly, he also mentions he did not know that he was only 1 second away from the podium and Ilan van Wilder's time. And if he had known, he might have been able to push a bit harder and maybe get that bronze. So we'll keep that in mind and come back to it. But what else does he have to say?
Yeah, I will probably regret, but tomorrow is a new day, and yeah, I can be happy with how I suffered today. It was not my best performance, but yeah, given the circumstances before Canada, I couldn't finish my block of training on the TT bike, and yeah, I can be satisfied, and I'm looking more forward for the Sunday road race anyway.
So for those of you that weren't aware, Tadej has been ill. So he had to take a week off the bike in early September, which impacted his preparations for both the TT and the road race at the World Championships. And then he says he's disappointed in the result, but he performed as well as he could have, and he's already looking forward to next week. And that's one of those things about Tadej where defeat only seems to make him stronger. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's lit a fire under him for next week. But this is, I think, where we get a bit more detail around what his plan and his preparation have been.
Yeah, it's really nice parcours. It's one to have really good legs, to have really good position as well, because the downhills were very important today, and the high-speed sections. Really fast roads. We're on altitude, which plays the effects also, and yeah, it's really fast, but also a lot of elevation to do on the course. And yeah, I've been enjoying the last few days here training around, and yeah, I'm really looking forward for the road race. Now yeah, I need just to do 2 more hard trainings, and yeah, I'm ready for Sunday.
So he said he's really looking forward to the course next week. It suits him perfectly, which we all know already. But the interesting thing is he's not prepared yet. He says he needs 2 more hard training sessions to be ready. But that's really important, because what does it tell us? It tells us that he's not at top form right now for this race. A lot of people were worried that this was the form he's going to carry into the World Championships next week, and why he's chosen to approach the road race next week as his main objective. And this is where we get a bit more detail around how his master plan of preparations is coming together for this one. Because he's asked a question around if he should have skipped last weekend's Canadian Grand Prix races to prepare adequately for the TT. And he says this.
If we speak in circumstances for TT, I would definitely need to skip Canada, but yeah, after I got sick before Canada, my focus was not that I gave up on the TT, but I had to skip a few big important trainings on TT bike. For road bike was not a question that I can perform well, but I knew that if I want to be 100% for the road race, I have to go to Canada. So I think Canada was a good decision for the road race.
And this is the crux of everything, essentially. Tadej admits himself there that if he'd wanted to perform well at the TT yesterday, then he would have needed to have skipped those Canadian Grand Prix races. But he says he did not want to do that because if he'd done that, it would have impacted his preparation for next weekend's road race World Championship. And that is his main priority. So whilst he says he didn't give up on the TT, he didn't manage to get in enough training sessions. He prioritised the road race training sessions and going to Canada to be ready for that instead. He openly says that he sacrificed the TT to prepare for the Worlds instead. And the fact that he was ill meant that he could not prioritise both. He had to target one or the other. And therefore he's laser focused on the road race because the rainbow bands are just more important. Therefore, he expected to do badly here, or he certainly didn't expect to win. If he had done well, it would have been at the detriment of the road race defence. And as he's already said, he would never do that, as the rainbow bands are his main goal and objective for the late season, even sacrificing the Vuelta for a chance to take home the rainbow bands for the second consecutive year. So I don't think he's making excuses here. He's laying out a calculated strategy. The pros aren't superhuman. If they have to take a week off their preparation ill, it's going to impact things. And whilst Tadej rides like an alien, he's playing the sensible, smart game here by picking the objective that's most important to him and focusing on that.
What did you feel when Remco Evenepoel just passed you?
Yeah, for sure it's a hard one to swallow. But he's Remco. He's so good in this discipline. Well, I hope that he prepared really 100% for this discipline for today, and that he will be 99% ready for us next Sunday.
And I think Tadej's got a point about that as well. Remco came out before the TT and said he was in the best form that he'd been in all season. But if he's in the best form he's been in all season now, will he still be in that peak form a week from now? Tadej is certainly planning on being at 100% then, so Remco better hope he is as well. So if we look at this one with the right context, we can see that it's not a disaster for Tadej. Conversely, this is all according to plan. Let's not forget that whilst Remco put 2.5 minutes into Tadej, he also put 2.5 minutes into pretty much the rest of the field, barring Jay Vine. And he's arguably the best modern day T-tier that we've seen in the last 20 to 30 years, as evidenced by his taking home that rainbow TT bands for the 3rd year in a row. And whilst Tadej was also beaten by UAE teammate Jay Vine, let's not forget that Jay Vine has literally just finished the Vuelta, where he was in arguably the best ever form of his career, taking home a number of stage wins in the polka dot jersey. So there's certainly no shame in losing out to Jay Vine in that situation. Also considering that Tadej simply hasn't done enough training sessions to be where he needs to be. And whilst it certainly wasn't his best ever day on the bike, he was only 1 second away from the podium. Like he says, he might have been able to get on the podium if he'd known. And if that's Tadej's idea of a bad day, and not being at peak physical condition, then the rest of the peloton better be incredibly afraid for how he's going to turn up next week on Sunday. He's not off form, he's training and holding back to be in peak condition for that one. And the road race itself is Tadej's true terrain. It's long, explosive, selective, and the sort of battle that Tadej thrives in. He's much better when you throw in those explosive accelerations. And yes, he's certainly one of the best TTs in the world, but it's not his main strength. And him having one more week to fine-tune his performance post-illness is absolutely crucial. All in all, this is probably incredibly vital training for the road race itself. So he'll be using that ride as training and also the result as motivation, like he always does, to come back stronger after a defeat. And I think any fans that are panicking after that result in the TT are forgetting his resilience and also his absolute top level. So realistically, Pogačar didn't lose the time trial. He traded it for something bigger. By sacrificing that race, he set himself up perfectly to defend defend the rainbow bands next week. Unless something else crazy happens, on Sunday, Pogačar is about to prove once again why he is the smartest as well as strongest rider in the peloton. So let me know down below, do you agree this was all part of Tadej's plan, or do you think we should start sounding the alarm bells and he's not on top form and he's going to get smashed in the road race next week? I think considering everything that we've talked about, I'm even more impressed with his performance yesterday than I thought. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and comment. It really helps the video and it's free. If you want to see more pro cycling content, hit that subscribe button as well, and catch you on the next one.